So my speech today is going to be on why sports betting should be legalized. Will Bronson with CBS Sports said the 2016 Super Bowl alone drew $132.5 million in legal wagers, while $4.2 billion was wagered illegally. Sean Kilichar with Forbes says 85% of Americans have bet at least one time in their life. My credibility comes from having made legal wagers throughout the years and also following the betting industry very closely, particularly with sports. So this is why sports betting should be legalized in all 50 states due to the economic benefits it brings. The points that will be discussed today: the negative impact it would have on sports and society, the positive impact it would have on sports and society, and the economic impact it would have on sports and society. Will Hobson with the Washington Post write, in 1992, the Pro Amateur Sports Protection Act was passed, and for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it has outlawed any betting, particularly sports in the United States. It was driven by your NFL commissioners, your Major League Baseball commissioners, all the people that were worried about the integrity of the game being jeopardized. Francis Marcus with the New York Times writes, in 1985, there was a point shaving scandal at Tulane University. 3 players were indicted and multiple coaches. Point shaving is basically players taking money from your bookies, your bettors, to influence the outcome of the game. So if they're up 3 and they have to cover the spread at 3, maybe they go up there and miss a free throw. John Kent with U.S. News says gambling addiction matches drug addiction, and someone being able to make a bet anywhere at any time would be detrimental. James Butler with U.S. News says for every dollar earned by each state, $3 is lost by the federal government. And next, the point I'll discuss is the positive impact it would have on sports and society. If you go to many stadiums, you have Bud Light sponsorships, you have many business sponsorships. Imagine having those sponsorships with Bovada, BetOnline, and many offshore sportsbooks that would be able to finally transition the United States. Not to mention, if you have $100 on a game, ratings. None of us can say if there's not a significant amount of money on a game that we wouldn't be watching. Of course you wouldn't. You want to know what happens. John Purdon with ABC writes that FanDuel and DraftKings currently works coincide with Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, and generates $1.2 billion. FanDuel is fantasy sports betting. Roderick Wright with U.S. News says bettors would finally be able to have protection against fraud. Right now, if you make a bet and hit $1,000 illegally, no one says the bookie has to pay you. And the final point I'll discuss would be the economic benefit it would bring to society. William Brangham with PBS says every year $80 to $300 billion is wagered. If you split that up evenly in 50 states, that's $1 to $6 billion per year. The money brought in outweighs the cost. I mentioned earlier that every state, for every dollar they earn, the federal government incurs a $3 loss. That's still a lot of money being brought in when you're talking about billions. And you would finally be able to tax those that are betting illegally. And that's money untraced. And the IRS is happy at the end of the day. Gary Payne with U.S. News says odds are similar to Wall Street, but only 1% of bets are accounted for. 1% of bets are accounted for. So you have 99% of bets in the United States. The government has no clue what's going on. And at worst, if none of these get your attention, you can create more jobs. You have sports books popping up in Vegas for a reason. People aren't consistently winning. So if you open these in every state, then what happens? You create more jobs, create more revenue. So in conclusion, while sports betting may have a negative view by society, the economic impacts it brings to major leagues, to each state, and to the nation as a whole is just too great to be ignored. Sports, in my opinion, can image as a stock market. It is an international entity, and again, sports books, casinos aren't being popped up and built in Vegas because people are consistently winning. Like I said, I've made many legal wagers throughout the years. I know the industry. I know how much it brings in and how much it really can grow to. Anyone have any questions? Okay.
We get 4 minutes.
Yep, 4:30.
On one side, already check that back and make sure it runs good.